Hey guys, I want to go into how I view logs with Excel. Logs that I recorded through RomRaider. So, and logs from maps that I worked on in ECU Flash. So, the theme here is free software. I realize Excel is not actually free, but if you have a computer, it probably has Excel on it, and if it doesn't, you probably have access to OpenOffice. Or Google spreadsheets, and you can do the same thing. The workflow might be slightly different. You can do some of this stuff in Megalog Viewer HD, which I actually have a license for, and I love it. It's great software. It's a little much for quick tuning. There's just a lot of work into getting it set up, and it's $50. And then ECU Edit, kind of the elephant in the room. I've got my own reasons for why I don't want to spend money on that software. It seems like it's great. I just don't think that it's the money you spend on it is worth what you get over what you can do for free. I'll just leave it at that. So let's jump over to a log I took today. I'm doing some boost tuning, and my car's got a problem. And I think we're going to immediately see that problem once we start looking at these logs in Excel. And I think we're going to immediately see what we need to do about that problem. So I'm going to go and open this up. I'm going to try to work slow. I've got a lot of muscle memory that as soon as I open up a log, there's like 6 things that I do. So this video might look slow, but once you start doing this, if you got a mouse, I'm working with the trackpad right now. If you got a mouse, you got keyboard shortcuts, the first 6 or 7 things you do here are just going to happen in like a second. Got a train horn. Hopefully that doesn't mess up the video audio. So yeah, here we go. Open up this log. There's just a ton of stuff. This doesn't mean anything to me. I can't glean anything from here. We need to organize this in some way. So first thing I do, I'll do data. I'll hit filter, and that's going to turn our top row into things that we can filter by. So like for throttle, I can filter by throttle position. I'm tuning boost, so I really only care about 100% throttle. Second thing I'll do is I'll hit view, I'll hit freeze panes, and I'll do freeze top row. What that'll do is now as we scroll, this top row will always stay there. So we'll always see what the label is of the data that we're looking at. So let's go ahead and sort by throttle. We're going to deselect all. We're going to go to 100%. I only care about 100% throttle for what I'm doing right now. And so now we have a lot less data to look at. What I'll do is I'll scroll down, and I see kind of 2 polls here. And the reason why I'm seeing that, well, part of it is because I did the polls, so I knew what I did. But if you didn't, you could just look at engine speed. So I've got 1400 RPM. We're building up 3,000, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000, and then it jumps down to, again, 1,900. Now the engine, this is not a real-time view. The engine didn't just jump from 57 RPM to 1,900. There's a jump here in the time as well, which is in milliseconds. And that's because when I filtered by throttle, I'm only showing 100% throttle. So there's a lot of partial throttle stuff in between there that's hidden. That's a nice thing about sorting by 100%. But if you've got multiple 100% throttle pulls in your log, you just need to be cognizant of that and know to not grab multiple pulls at a time, unless you really just want to kind of superimpose a bunch of wide open throttle pulls on top of each other, which you might want to do. But what I'm going to do, since I know I did a 3rd gear pull and I did a 4th gear pull, so this first pull is 3rd gear from 1,500 RPM to just shy of 6,000. So I'm going to go ahead and copy it all. Control C, and then I'm just going to open up a new Excel spreadsheet. So you can shift click on the Excel spreadsheet in your Windows bottom bar, and then hit Control V. And now I've got that 1st gear pull here. 3rd gear pull here. That first pull in that log, which was in 3rd gear. If you look at this in ECU Edit, by the default log viewer, it's going to be time domain, and we can certainly do that here. And I think we're going to see the problem that my car is having immediately, even in time domain. So what we'll do is we'll just start clicking on these. You're going to hold Control, click the column A, hold Control, hit column B, which is boost error. I'm going to jump over to engine speed, column F, hold Control, click. Hold Control, click on manifold relative pressure, and then primary wastegate, duty cycle, actual, and maximum. And then we're going to hit Insert. We're going to hit Scatter. And then I like the one with the lines, but it doesn't really matter. It's going to put this tiny little graph that doesn't mean anything yet here to us. We're going to right-click on it. I'm going to move it over to the new sheet, Chart 1. And I'm going to go ahead and right-click on the RPM data, Format Data Series, and I'm going to throw it on the secondary axis just to make everything more readable. The reason why I do that is because the secondary axis is basically just a second vertical axis. You can do boost error, manifold pressure, wastegate duty cycle, blah, 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 on one axis because they all generally fall between 0 and 80 or something. And then the RPM is between 1,000 and 7,000. So we kind of put the RPM on one axis and we put everything else on the other axis. I'll also kind of just, format legend, throw the legend on the bottom, and there we go. So I think we can immediately see the problem here. My wastegate duty cycle is just bumping up into the maximum the whole time. It only really jumps down for a second, which means it thought it was over boosting, and it really wasn't. That's just something I have to change in the table. So in this case, I can probably make the decisions that I need to make to change my map off of this table, off of this graph that I'm looking at right now, and we're done. But I do want to show you, I don't usually look at data this way, actually. I usually try to look at data the way that the ECU looks at data. So if we jump over back to our map, I'm at 100% throttle, so our table labels are throttle opening angle, so I'm at 100%, so we're going to just look at whatever's above 90% here. Same thing with wastegate duty here, 90%, 90%. We're at the 100% range, so we're in here. So the ECU is looking at throttle angle, and it's looking at RPM. The ECU doesn't care what time it is. It doesn't care, where we are in milliseconds. The ECU is just looking at the RPM. So I like to make the x-axis of my graphs RPM instead of time. So let's bump back over here. One weird thing with Excel, if you select a bunch of columns, it's going to assume your leftmost one is your x-axis. So I'm going to go ahead and copy, Control C, my engine speed, and I'm going to paste it to the left of column A, just to get it to the very left. Another thing I like to do is make a target boost cell. As far as I know, there's not a logging parameter for target boost, but you can log boost error and you can log your manifold relative pressure, and you can derive your target boost from there. So let's just name column D target boost, and so we know that the car is saying we have a boost error of 2.71, and that means it's under boosting by that much. And so we're going to head over to target boost, and we're going to just make that equal to the boost error plus the manifold relative pressure corrected tab. Manifold relative pressure corrected. That's basically the boost that you would see on a boost gauge. We're going to copy that, and then we're going to jump down to the bottom here, Control V, and this now should be a new derived column of what our target boost is, and that should be the interpolated target boost from here. We should see it peak at around 17 psi, which is what I have it here in the map, and then taper off to red line. But yeah, we shouldn't. It should look like the far end of this graph right here. Pre-boost stuff right there. Jump up around 2750 RPM, and then dive down from there. So let's go ahead. I opened up the wrong one. Where did it go? Oh, okay. So let's make a new graph. I'm going to select engine speed. I'm going to do boost error, our new target boost column, which we just created. Engine speed. Oh, sorry, I already did engine speed. Engine speed, boost error, target boost, manifold relative pressure, and our wastegate duty cycles. So this manifold relative pressure is our actual boost versus our target boost, and then boost error is just going to show the difference there. And our wastegate's showing us what our boost control system is doing. So I'm going to do that on a scatter graph, and then we're going to again move this over to its own sheet. We're going to move the legend down to the bottom. There's probably a quicker way to do this. I'm going to right click on the axis, the main axis. Oops. Format axis. We're going to go between, what is that? 1500 and 6000 RPM. I'll throw some grid lines in there. Same thing with this axis. Okay, again, we already knew what the problem was, so this doesn't really tell us anything new. Except for now we're looking at things the way that the engine's looking at things, or the way that the engine computer's looking at things. So sometimes you get better resolution looking at it this way. And again, this red line, this target boost, that's a derived table. That's the math, the function I did in here. If you were using ECU edit, that would be one of those math functions. But I just it's a cell plus another cell. So I can see what my target boost look like, and I can see what my actual boost looks like. And then, the boost error is that's a real measurement, and that's the difference between those two. And then, you can see once the actual boost went above the target boost, it started pulling wastegate duty cycle. But other than that, my real problem here, if I wasn't making a video, this would have taken 3 seconds to look at. Here's the problem. I'm going to raise my max wastegate duty cycle and probably also raise my initial wastegate duty cycle and see if this solves a problem and not touch my target boost. Maybe lower my target boost at 1500 RPM, maybe raise it 2500 or so. But yeah, again, this video is not about what the problem is with this log. This video is about how we looked at this log. So yeah, I hope you all found this useful. Again, I've done this enough times that if I've got a mouse and keyboard, I kind of, as soon as I open the log, I do the first 5 or 6 steps there, within a few seconds. And so the time it takes to get to this screen, I think once you've done it enough times, you'll be able to get to viewing your data within a few seconds of opening up a log. I think it can be intimidating when RomRaider doesn't have a log viewer, and so when you log in RomRaider, there's all these, I've got them somewhere. There's all these just crazy spreadsheets that you can download from the internet. That's got. Let's see if I can open it. It even takes a while to open. There's this sort of thing that's just. I think these are useful, and I have used these sorts of spreadsheets, but it's just a lot of stuff, and it's like you don't really know what it's doing. I've used some of the calculator functions in these guys and have it spit out things that was obviously wrong. So I really think there's value in just opening your logs in Excel and manipulating your own data and making decisions based off of that. Anyway, I hope this was useful for you. I hope this encourages you to use free software or software that you already have. And I hope this empowers you to, go out and take some data logs of your car and just see what your car is doing. And maybe you'll get some ideas. Maybe you'll use other things as your axes instead of, maybe engine speed's not what you want to use for your x-axis. Maybe you want to use engine load, which I've logged here. You could absolutely do that. Feel free to ask me questions if you have any. I've been doing this for a little while, so hopefully I can help you out. Have a great rest of your day.